Please, a warm welcome for Dianne. Dianne?
You guys, I'm in heels, and so I get nervous going upstairs. Thank you so much. Okay, so as John mentioned, I'm Dianne Cairoli, and I oversee our retail vertical as well as our mid-market sales team. And today we'll chat a little bit about how retail brands have maximized their ad spend through really effective use of creative, brand, and targeting to boost loyalty and ultimately drive incremental sales. But I wouldn't be a salesperson if I didn't quickly give you a little overview of what we do at Dish Media. We have three main video platforms. Our first platform is Dish Satellite, which really plays in the addressable linear space. We also have Sling TV, which is our connected television product. And then we also have Freestream, which is a product that we've launched for the FAST space. All across those three platforms, we reach about 30 million uniques each month, and that's deduplicated across all of these different solutions. And if there's sort of three things to remember about Dish, the first thing is it's all premium, top-of-the-funnel quality content from the networks you know and love. I am also a Bravo fan, so I always mention Bravo, but for you sports fans, we also have ESPN and, CNN and, HGTV, all that great programming. The second thing is we are an audience-first driven solution because we do have first-party deterministic data that our brand partners can leverage. And the third is we're incredibly transparent. You know down to every single impression and network how your media is going to perform. So back to the task at hand, which is talking about loyalty and maximizing ad dollars. Creative still reigns supreme. And in fact, 49% of all incremental sales are driven by the quality of your creative. And how does the audience know what quality really means, right? Or how do we brand marketers know what quality really means? It's really driven off of an insight about your audience so that you can deliver that very much so personalized message. I loved Caroline chatting about sort of the insight that they used about their salespeople and how that really is an incredible, important piece of their business, and how Aaron talked about how, the VPR crew is now in Chili's commercials, which I had no idea. I haven't seen that creative yet, but I'm obviously going to have one of those espresso martinis because it clearly worked on me. But yeah, so the quality of your creative is really what, first and foremost, is going to drive that incrementality for your brands. So we've got a couple examples of different creative that's run across our platforms and performed really well. I apologize, there's no sound in these, but you can still really feel the sentiment overall. This is from a Walgreens commercial that was run in first quarter of this year. An audience insight for them was really around when people are in pain, the first thing that they really think about is convenience in terms of getting access to the medication that they need. And you can see she's incredibly relieved the moment that she can just, from her app directly, order the medication she needs and then feel much better. This is an ad that Sephora produced and ran in first quarter as well, and their insight was really around inclusion and personalization. As beauty brands, they have a ton of different products that speak to a ton of different people, but you want to make sure that that personalization doesn't make you feel like you're excluded. You want to feel like you're included, even through that personalization. And the last is a Kroger campaign that ran where they really wanted to focus on their hero brands that are Kroger branded products and brands that actually really perform the best for them overall. And so they leveraged kind of AI to create this incredible creative that was really kind of surprising and ultimately drove a ton of sales for them. So beyond creative, brand perception is incredibly important in purchasing and driving incrementality. So we did an audience segmentation study to understand the impact of loyalty on sales. And when looking at sort of low loyalty, average loyalty, and then high loyalty, brands with the highest loyalty drove 2 times the incremental sales per household. So that's incredible performance, right? So you really want to focus on that loyal audience. And you want to make sure that you're directing your targeting where you're actually going to deliver the most returns. So when looking at kind of campaigns that target brand loyalists and switchers versus campaigns that actually don't have any purchase-based targeting, and then looking at non-brand buying campaigns, ultimately, like the campaigns that are targeting switchers and loyalists are the ones that outperform significantly. So again, I've said this like 10 times, targeting is key, obviously, but you guys have so much rich data at your fingertips that you can leverage for your media campaigns. And you'll see here that actually when you target existing buyers versus campaigns that have no distinct target and campaigns that are reaching new customers, that existing buyer is still going to outperform any other targeting that you can apply in any of your campaigns. And reach is still an incredibly important metric, but targeted reach combined with recency is really what's ultimately going to drive the best outcomes for your brand. So as we shift into this new kind of landscape where everything's flipped, turned upside down on its head, the perception that all of this rich targeting that you can do the perception is that it's incredibly expensive, but it's not. And in fact, we've taken a deep dive and looked at several different case studies to understand the effective CPM when running linear versus running an addressable targeted campaign. And what we've actually seen is that the eCPM is actually incredibly more efficient for an addressable campaign versus a traditional linear campaign. And the reason for that is because only 14% of the actual audience was within that demo. The rest of those impressions are actually completely wasted. So when you factor that in, you're actually looking at an incredibly more efficient eCPM. And in fact, for this beauty brand in particular, the addressable CPM was 3 times lower than their linear eCPM. And we know it's working. So we've actually seen a huge growth in the retail category in the past year. We're actually up in terms of revenue over almost 100% year over year. And that really does span all the different subcategories that sit within retail. Whether it's mass or it's grocery or pharmacy, retailers are really seeing success by focusing on these specific drivers to drive incrementality across our different platforms and solutions. And that's it. So thank you very much.